Hey, welcome back to the channel, and this is my preview for Ireland versus New Zealand. So I've entitled this preview History because these teams do have history, personal and team history. You can't forget what happened last year and what's happened in the last 2 or 3 years between Ireland and New Zealand, and now they've developed absolutely fantastic rivalry, and that now it's going to be played out in the World Cup stage. And yeah, this game is going to be a monumental game, I think. So let's start by going through the matchups between the teams. New Zealand have named the team for the game, and we can actually get into now how it's gonna play out on the pitch. Front rows. So you've got Porter, Sheehan, and Furlong, De Groot, Taylor, and Lomax. I gotta say that looks a pretty even Stevens kind of contest. I will say that Furlong has come into a bit of form recently. He had an injury, I think, like a year back, and he took a while to recover from that. But he looks like he's finding his old form, and yeah, no doubt he's going to be fired up for this match. Sheehan coming back into the side is going to secure that line out. He's a great in the loose, but also he's a fantastic at the set piece as well. But so is Cody Taylor. He had his kind of lack of form last year, but really a great player and very similar to Sheehan. Maybe Sheehan's got a little bit of the edge on the pace, but De Groot and Lomax are going to give the Irish props a good day's work. So I would say that's fairly even. I would say the same for the second rows as well. You've got Tagburn and Henderson in the second rows for Ireland, and you've got Retallick and Barrett. Now, Retallick and Barrett, I think, could have a good impact on the game, particularly Barrett if he keeps his head and doesn't get into any disciplinary trouble. And Retallick, probably his last World Cup. He's a veteran, a stalwart of this New Zealand team, but he has something to prove, and I think he's shown it in the performances recently that he realizes he's coming to the twilight of his career, and yeah, he's going to put in a massive shift. But those Irish boys as well, they're going to put up a stern fight, particularly Byrne. He loves playing against New Zealand, as I mentioned previously in my last video, and he's gonna wanna show that it wasn't like a one-off. He's gonna go all out, and things start to heat up even more from here. You got in the back row O'Mahony, Van der Fleer, and Doris for Ireland. What a fantastic back row. And then you got Frizzell, Sam Cane as captain, and Ardie Savea. From when I started doing my channel, I started calling him Superman, because he's without doubt been the form player for New Zealand for the last year, and he dragged them through, basically through sheer force of will, the last the 12 months that they were struggling. And yeah, so what a fantastic matchup. And I think my main one I do the thumbnail on is Doris and Ardie Savea, because Doris for me is the best player in the Irish team, particularly in the pack, I think. And Ardie Savea is without doubt their main man. So that matchup is going to be, I'm going to be so excited and interested to see how that goes. But I will say Kane doesn't have a good record against the Irish, and he's up against Van der Fleer, who was the player of the year last year. So and O'Mahony and Frizzell. Frizzell is being picked to bring it physically, but look who he's up against, O'Mahony, the god of war. So yeah, such a tasty matchup in the back row. Onto the halfback. So you have another great contest. Jameson Gibson Park, who of course is a New Zealander playing for Ireland, and versus Aaron Smith. So Aaron Smith is arguably the greatest number 9 to wear the New Zealand shirt, and that's saying a lot, you know. And he's up against Gibson Park, who's like blossomed in this Irish side and who's absolutely playing fantastic rugby. So that's going to be amazing, you know. And Sexton and Moanga. Moanga, I think, has come on a lot in the last year since they started picking him regularly, and it shows what regular Test rugby can do to a player. I think he's come on a lot. His defense is absolutely fantastic, but then he's up against Sexton, who's the leader, the captain, and also the playmaker for this Irish side. So that's going to be really good to see. I think I wonder if Aaron Smith is going to try and make a point with Gibson Park, and he's going to have a few snipes early on, I feel. But it's going to be interesting to see how it goes. You know, oh, that is so good to see. And then we're up in the ante again. In midfield, we have Bundy Aki and Ringrose for Ireland. And we have Geordie Barrett, 3 brothers playing in the same side. How cool is that? And Rico Ioane. Now, Aki and Ringrose are absolutely on fire at the moment. They just reading each other's thoughts and playing off each other so well. Like Barrett and Ioane, the fair play to the New Zealand staff. They've tried to kind of instill this partnership in the New Zealand side for the last year, and they've been pretty consistent picking them. So they have got a little bit of a thing going, but it's the ultimate test now. It's the quarterfinals of the World Cup, and they're up against possibly the best centre partnership in the World Cup. So it's going to be make or break for them. Remember, there's a new coach coming in after this World Cup for New Zealand. So if they don't do well, maybe it's curtains for them in terms of the future playing at that position. So it's a really key moment for them, and I'm sure it won't be lost on them. So they're going to be playing all out, I think. But yeah, Aki and Ringrose, not the partnership you want to go up against. As for the back 3, you got Lowe, Hansen, and Keenan. Very well established back 3 for Ireland, and Leicester, Finga and Nuku, Will Jordan and Bodie Barrett for New Zealand. Leicester came in for Talia, who had some kind of disciplinary malpractice, and he got dropped. But that guy is full of fireworks. You know, he can break tackles, and he can offload. So I will say he tends to take the contact a little bit, which will suit Ireland. If he gets out of that kind of mentality, then he'll do well. But maybe I think Ireland have a slight advantage just because the guys of the back 3, because they call it back 3 for a reason. They've played together more often, so maybe a few kicks will go to him from Sexton, I think, Leicester, in the first 10-20 minutes, just to test him out, to see how his positioning is, and see how he takes a high ball. So let's wait and see. As for the subs, subs are pretty standard, apart from like 2 I would mention on both sides. You got Jimmy O'Brien versus basically Damien McKenzie. So McKenzie, of course, is a fantastic flair player and great, and he's really improved on his game in the last couple of years, and is more and can play within a structured team. But in terms of talent, he's right up there at the top of the list. And he will definitely be able to bring something to the New Zealand side later on in the game. But so can Jimmy O'Brien, so they're kind of like for like, I think. And Conor Murray and Finlay Christie. I will say that Conor Murray is playing really well at the moment, and Finlay Christie is just kind of a replacement. So I think Ireland have a little bit of an advantage in that replacement choice. So it's going to be interesting. So as for the result of the game, I think Ireland just have the edge all over the park. I mean, New Zealand can pull it out of the bag. Obviously, they do have the players there to do it, but Ireland just have that the consistency in the combinations across the park. Players like Aaron Smith, Ardy Savea, they are gonna like throw a spanner in the works, no doubt, throughout the match. And Mackenzie, when he comes on, he could do some damage. Moanga, I think, is due for a really big game, so I'm going to be watching him. But the Ireland team just seems a little bit too strong for the New Zealanders. But there's a lot of history there, and yeah, you know what I mean? There was 11 Irish players experienced the quarterfinal loss to New Zealand 4 years ago, and there were a lot of New Zealand players in that team that lost to Ireland in last autumn's test series. So there's a lot to play for here: pride, you know, personal kind of integrity, and all that kind of good stuff, that the intangibles that rugby brings up as a sport, and that's why it's so great. So can't wait to see the match. Thank you for watching the video. If you've made it this far, please like, subscribe, all that other good stuff, and I'll see you next time.